It's the Queen, Queen Karen Chevelle. Yeah. You know I call the shots, and it's about that time.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the first edition of the Invasion Nation podcast. It's your boy T-Word, a.k.a. the People's Champ, and I got John Gotti with me, Mr. Buccaneer, in my opinion, king of the Pirates, if you will. He is here to kick this thing off. And before we get into talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' upcoming 2018 season, I want to give the listeners out there an idea of what this show is all about. So it's going to be a weekly series for the NFC South Invasion group, and we're going to bring you content, talk about what happened in the previous week, and we're going to get this preseason started. Now keep in mind, it's preseason for the players, it's preseason for us too, so we're going to work out the kinks and get it real tight for y'all. So when the regular season starts and me and Mr. Gotti go head to head for that week one preview, y'all know we're going to be on point and expect a little bit more trash talking, all that good stuff. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. So Gotti, what's good with you, bro?
What's going on, T, man? How's it going over there, man?
Man, it's good. I'm holding down this Texas heat and trying to make the most of it. Happy to see football is back, even if it's just practice. Happy to have it back. How about yourself?
Same here, man. I'm just ready to get it going, man. I'm ready for my boys to prove everybody wrong.
I feel that, man. Hey, new season, new hope, new dreams. Everybody got the opportunity. We all 0-0 for the next month. So with that being said, we got a few questions, a couple things we want to cover as we get into the show. And first things first, last season, going into 2017, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were coming off a 9-7 record just outside the playoffs. So a lot of hope was across Bucs Nation, not to mention within the division, y'all look like a scary team to me too. So with that being said, what would you like to carry from 2017 into 2018?
Well, last year, like you said, we were just coming off a 9-7 season. A lot of hope for us. You know what I'm saying? Hard knocks and all that good stuff. Which we knew about the curse, but we thought we were set up pretty good to get over that hump or whatever. But starting with with week one and the hurricane and everything that came, the no bye week, everything just started to avalanche at the beginning of the season. So.
Right.
We started off with a win at Chicago, and we had a few takeaways, I believe, and we just pretty much did what we wanted to do with them. And I was, you couldn't tell me nothing after that game right there. You know what I'm saying? I just knew it was gonna be everything we thought it was. But one thing in specific that we did good, I believe we were number one in turnovers in the division. I believe so. Don't quote me on that, but we were pretty good at getting turnovers. We just our problem was we gave away more than we could.
Understood. Yeah, and that makes it hard to win. So I can understand that being a problem.
Right. That's one thing that comes strictly like right off the bat to mind. Just trying to still be good with the turnovers, man. And as a defense as a whole, just stop giving away so many yards. But if we keep the turnovers up, though, then a lot of stuff can happen.
I definitely understand that. That was always a problem. Was the opposite problem for the Saints. We would have we would generate very few turnovers defensively, and then we hand the ball over, 20 times over the course of a season or 25 times. You can't win that way. You got to win that turnover battle. So definitely an area that you want to improve, and I can see why you want to keep the defensive side and clean up on the offense. Now, let's move into maybe there's some rookies or some young players on the roster that maybe we should be looking out for. As an NFC South fan, especially a Saints fan, I'm watching everybody, so I got my eye on a couple of players. But you being a Bucs fan, you gonna give us the inside scoop. Who's the players to watch for?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna give you two apiece, man. In my opinion,
okay.
It could be more, but I'm gonna just do two. On the offensive side of the ball, Chris Godwin and OJ are gonna have some. They're gonna have some good seasons, man. They're gonna do something special this year for the Bucs on the offensive side of the ball.
Absolutely, I can imagine.
On the defensive side, I'm gonna say Justin Evans, and Noah Spence. It's his time to come around now and show why he was a second-round pick. A lot of people sleep on the kid. If for some who don't know much about him, he did play across from Bosa at Ohio State in college. They were the two defensive ends, okay. And they wreaked a lot of havoc. So it's his time now to show what he can do, man, without injury at full health.
That sounds good too. It sounds like it's gonna be some really good talent on the defensive side of the ball for you guys. Now, you mentioned a couple guys on either side, but my question is gonna be at running back. We were talking in a chat. And you mentioned the running back that we should be looking out for. How do you feel about your backfield going into the season?
Well, Barber is pretty solid. He's a pretty solid. He could do everything pretty good. He definitely doesn't have the speed that Rojo has. But
right.
For right now, as far as the little highlights that I did catch off of our preseason game, he didn't get many touches and he didn't do much with what he did get. I was looking for a breakout run, a 20, 30 yard or something like that. We didn't see none of that. So.
Right.
I mean, we still, checking him out right now. He hasn't done much, nothing to bat your eye about or whatever. But Barber's pretty solid, and Rojo, we still looking for what we can get out of him. And Sims is Sims, reliable pass catcher on third down, and
right.
Likes to dance a lot. But other than that, I mean, he could have a good game every now and then. You just never know.
Never know.
And I believe we have another young rookie named Sean Wilson out of Duke, I believe that's his name. And
yeah, you got Wilson.
I haven't seen much on him. I didn't watch the game, so I didn't get to see any of his runs or any of his touches neither. So that's pretty much it on the running back stage.
Okay, and I truly feel like with the Buccaneers, one of the biggest things that kind of hurt, and it can really help Fitzpatrick in those first 3 games without Jameis Winston, is having a solid run game where teams can't just pin their ears back and come after the quarterback. That's going to be real important for them to be really competitive, because your first 3 games without Jameis, you got New Orleans, you got Pittsburgh, and you got Philadelphia. That's kind of like a gauntlet right there, and you don't want any of those teams to be able to just come after your quarterback. So I think the run game is going to be really important for you guys early in the season. So by the end of the preseason, I'm expecting you all to have that figured out. Now, moving on to the next question. Has your team improved where you feel like they would need to improve as far as like picking up players through free agency, drafting to fill positions? And also, how do you feel about the coaching staff? I mean, within the NFC South, Dirk Cutter and Mike Smith are super familiar to everybody, and everybody got jokes. So maybe you could give us some insight on what's the future for those two and what you think about your team as far as any improvements that were made.
Yeah, as far as the improvements, man, I like what we did to the defensive line, man. We pretty much stacked it up as much as we could.
Oh, for sure.
Signed a few free agents from some good places, and they were performing good where they were at. So hopefully they could bring that same attitude and production, to Tampa. And we didn't. I don't know. We made one move to the offensive. Well, we drafted a guy too on the offensive line, and I just feel like we could have did maybe a little more, maybe a bigger, another big splash move on the O-line.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like the D-line, we did damn good with the D-line and offensive line. So that's still going to be a big question mark in our game this season. So I'm still not sold on them yet until I see it.
Understood. Now,
but,
Marpet was playing center, and they moved him to guard, right? Because that's his natural position?
Correct.
Okay. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's going to be better, or would it be better to keep somebody that already played the center and kind of keep that steady, just consistent? What do you feel about that move?
No, Marpet he's such a good offensive lineman, period, as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
He did his thing in both spots, but it was we did what was best to grab one of the best centers in the league last year and go and just pay him like that and put Marpet back to where he belongs at. But he was he's such a good offensive lineman, period.
Mm-hmm.
He went over there and played the center position pretty well. So it wouldn't be wrong to keep him there, but at the same time, gotta put him back at that guard position, man, and open up these holes for the running backs.
I agree with that 100%. You got to get a guy at a strong spot and keep him there. Now, I got a couple of follow-up questions, and we're just going to do rapid fire to wrap this segment up. So first, I just want to reflect on the preseason game. I know you didn't get to watch it, but I'm going to throw some info at you, and you give me your one-line feedback. So I say that I feel like maybe the team passed a little bit too much in the preseason opener. They went 37 of 47 for 336 yards, a TD, and a pick. Do you feel that was too much passing for preseason?
I wouldn't say it was too much passing being in with our quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta let these guys get those reps and probably have. I'd rather have more passing right now too, because we definitely gotta let all 3 of our guys get their reps. Jameis still gotta get his reps, even though he ain't gonna be around the first few weeks.
Right.
And Fitz gotta get his reps too, being that he's gonna hold it down for the first few weeks.
That is
And
for
Griffin, if my memory serves me right, he had the most, and that actually makes a lot of sense to me too for the first game to give him the most, because if anything happens to Fitz, then that's what you know what I'm saying, we got to know what we got coming on the field.
That is for sure. You definitely, and I'm very familiar with Ryan Griffin. Obviously, the Saints had him for a few years, so I know that he's capable. There's a couple things about his game that kept him from taking that backup spot to Drew Brees. He did go 20 of 26 for 179 yards and the only passing TD for the Bucs. So it makes sense that they got him a lot of reps because, like you said, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's an older guy. He does make mistakes occasionally. You need to know what you have available to put in there. Now, the last rapid-fire question. I'm sorry, I got two more for you. All right, so kicking game. Do you think it's the special teams coach at this point? Because you guys have run through quite a few kickers. Do you think it's the coach or what?
I don't know, man. It's definitely you know Matt Bryan's wife has been seen on Twitter saying they definitely put some kind of hex on us or whatever you want to call it, but I ain't gonna use that as no excuse for how we did Matt back in the days when we had him. And but I to be honest with me kicking, I feel like it's got to be the guys that bring it through, man. Everybody maybe too much pressure on their back, man, to become the Bucs kicker right now, knowing that we've had about 2-3 seasons of straight, kicking woes. Everybody just comes with too much pressure and they're thinking about it too hard. Because the guy, they call him the Cat Man.
Catanzaro. Chandler Catanzaro. I
got
got you.
Yeah, he from what I was looking up and from what I was seeing, he was doing pretty good in practice. Sometimes he'd go 5 for 5, 4 for 5. Most practices he had a good one. He had a few off practices, but he seemed like he was gonna be the guy. And then he comes right out in the first preseason game missing 20s and 30s, just like the guys before him.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a mental issue. I don't believe in the hex and the curse talk and all that. I think it's a mental issue. The guys are coming in, like you said, the pressure of being better than the last kicker is way too much for these guys, and it's showing up on game day occasionally. Now, last rapid fire question. Vernon Hargreaves looks like he's gonna be out 2 to 3 weeks with a groin injury. Do you think he's going to be back for the season?
Yeah. From what I've heard, he's going to be back. I didn't hear anything about him going to miss any actual games or anything like that, because that wouldn't be any good for him. He don't want to miss the game, and Davis or Stewart comes in and gets 2 interceptions their first game or something like that, then nobody's going to want to see him back in his starting spot if something like that happens. So,
right.
Yeah, it's going to be really important for him to get back in there and prove his worth and show the Bay that he's got it. Because he's a hometown kid and all, and I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of the people around the way, man, they ready to let him go on by their business, man.
They ready to move on.
Yeah, they ready. Yeah, I ain't even gonna lie, man. I'm born and raised, man. They ready to let the boy go around here, man. They talk a lot of shit about him, man.
I feel that, man. That's why I kind of appreciate the fact that the Saints don't draft LSU players or kids from the state, because the tolerance and the temperance of people when it comes to homegrown players is so fickle, man. It takes just a split second. You make one bad play or you miss a couple games and they're already ready to get you up out of there. So I can understand the pressure of him playing at home. I know one thing for my son. He make it to the pro level. I hope the hometown teams do not draft him, because I don't want that type of pressure on my young man. You feel me? So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there, bro. But before I get you up out of here and go to commercial break, what do you have to say out there to Buck Nation? I know we're going to get you back before the first game and a few times after that as well. But do you have anything you want to put out there for this first episode?
Hey, man, we just, this the season, man. This the season, man. Nothing, what I'm saying? Nothing's coming easy this year, man. So we got to come out the gate and we got to do what we got to do, man. And one thing, too, the last time all those 3 teams that you mentioned that we played in the beginning, the last time we played all 3 of y'all, we beat y'all. Granted, it is a different season and all that, but that's just something I pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? I got that stat in my back pocket. It makes me not scared as much or whatever, knowing we got a W the last time we played all 3 of those teams, so y'all are beatable to us right now. So
right, I could dig it.
In my opinion, just like I was saying, in my opinion, y'all beatable to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that I keep in the back of my mind to keep hope alive, man. But we gonna do something special this year, man. Make a break, man.
No doubt. Well, definitely good luck to you and your squad, man. Of course, except for week 1, and whenever we play y'all again, I'm hoping for the worst those 2 games. But here's to a injury-free season. And we'll get to see our best product on the field. I hate to see banged up teams go head to head. So hopefully you guys are at 100%, we're at 100% for at least one or both of the matchups, and we'll see how the chips fall. So I appreciate your time, bro. Can't wait to get you back on here as we get closer to the season. So y'all out there listening, this is the Invasion Nation podcast. Hope you're all enjoying it. We'll be right back after the break. Keep it locked. Welcome to the Invasion Nation podcast for the NFC South. This is your boy T-Word, aka the People's Champ. I'm here with Jamie, and we are not only members of the NFC South Invasion group on Facebook, we're also admins. So y'all know we got the inside scoop of what's going on with the group. What's good, Jamie?
Hey T, how you doing?
I'm good. So we had to get you on here. In my opinion, you are Miss Pantherette. Regardless of what anybody else might try to say, you are the Panther spokesperson for the group. So we had to kick it off with you. And we're just going to view what's going to happen with the Carolina Panthers going into the 2018 season. And I got a couple questions about the previous season. And we're underway with preseason football. You guys started off with a 28-23 win over the Buffalo Bills. And that's not even a real storyline of that game, and we'll get into that at the end. But I just want to pick your brain for a few minutes, so I hope you got your thinking cap on. And starting off, let's reflect on 2017. You guys were 11-5, same record as the New Orleans Saints, finished in second place into the playoffs, and basically had to play in the first round, early exit. However, you guys put a pretty good team on the field. And when you think about the 2016 result, which was 6-10, to come back and go 11-5, that's a nice bounce back year. So carrying from the 2017 season into 2018, what do you want to bring from last year's team into this year?
I'd like to see us get a Super Bowl win. We definitely, not even the last 2 years, but the third year we went close, and we got to get a Super Bowl under our belt. We got to show everybody that we're the real deal. Even though we're a young team, we just got to show everybody that we're here to stay and we're the real deal.
Okay, I understand that. Go ahead.
That's the main important thing is we gotta get a Super Bowl on our belt.
Okay, so it's Super Bowl or bust in your opinion. You want to carry winning into 2018. That's your thing.
Oh, absolutely. We come so close about 3 years ago. We gotta step it up and get a Super Bowl.
I feel that. That should be the goal for every team. I know some people have, the Browns maybe ain't thinking Super Bowl. They think about get a win. But Carolina, I mean, you've had a recent history of success. You've got a quarterback who's one of the marquee players in the league. So I can understand that the expectations should be high. You have a young nucleus. You have a coach that's been there a while. Now, you guys are basically under new ownership. Do you think that's going to impact what ends up on the field this year?
No, I don't. I think that from what I've read, he's going to keep the Panthers in Carolina, in Charlotte.
Okay.
So I definitely think that we definitely have to show him that we're serious, that we love our team, and we definitely want our team to stay in Charlotte. So we have to show up and show the new ownership that we're the team that definitely needs to stay in Carolina.
I feel that, and that's
I don't think it's going to affect us moving unless we're just doing really poor. But I don't foresee us just coming out and doing really poor this year.
Now, I think the nucleus is there, and I think that you all have some pretty exciting players. Again, you're led by Cam Newton. You've got some pretty exciting players on defense, including Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis. In spite of the suspension, he's still a force. He's still a leader, and there's enough pieces on defense. That defensive line looks pretty amazing. So I think it's going to be good. Isn't Julius Peppers back for one more year?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so there's a leader right there. I think that'll be good. Now, speaking of the young nucleus, again, centered around Cam Newton, you've got a handful of young guys that should be really good offensively. We're looking at the rookie DJ Moore. He had a great preseason game, 4 catches, 75 yards. Second-year man Curtis Samuel, 4 catches, 43 yards. Second-year running back Christian McCaffrey, 2 catches, 29 yards. Also ran the ball on 4 carries with 11 yards in the TD. So you've got some pretty young dudes that can ball. Not to mention y'all picked up CJ Anderson at running back. He had 4 carries, 16 yards, and a touchdown. So it looks like they've got the thunder and lightning in the running game with McCaffrey and Anderson. And then you've got speed on speed with Samuel and Moore. Is there a young player that maybe I missed that I should be looking for, or what do you expect from these young players coming in?
I think you forgot. We have Dante Jackson.
Okay.
But he's not on. He's on
This is a
defense.
defensive player? Okay.
Yeah, but I definitely, as a new player, I think that we should definitely be looking at him. He had 110 tackles and 4 interceptions in his college year.
Oh,
So,
wow.
along with DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, I also want to look and see what this new guy brings. But definitely on the offensive side, I'm very, very excited to see what Christian McCaffrey's going to do, and what DJ Moore is going to do. I watched a little bit of DJ Moore highlights, and speed is definitely there.
Yeah.
I think Christian McCaffrey showed up when we played the Bills.
Mhm.
So I'm so excited to see the offensive line show up this year, because looks like our defense has really shows up and steps up for us in the past. So
That's true.
we get an offense to match that, we're going to be the team that everybody's going to try to beat.
Yeah, I could definitely see the team being competitive just based on the players that were acquired and the people that are already in house. And I do believe that at times it was an offense. Now, a big part of what I heard, and I have a really good friend who's a Carolina Panthers fan, Christopher Watson, and when we would message back and forth on game day, he expressed a lot of frustration with Shula as offense coordinator. And I'm wondering, was that sentiment shared across Panther Nation, or was it just him?
I think that a lot of Panther fans had a problem with Shula, but now we have North Turner,
Hmm.
and the Panther fans are very, very excited about him
Right.
coming in and seeing what he's going to bring. So we're very excited. We're very, very excited.
Okay, I can
I
dig
think
it.
the trust is already with North Turner. So
Right.
Panther fans are very excited. Very, very excited.
It should be interesting to see. I want to see what the offense does. Atlanta just experienced a recent transition at the coordinator position, and they had a drop off, and now they're expected to kind of shake back. So I'm wondering what type of impact I maybe see with North Turner. I believe we'll see your offense actually improve maybe 2 to 3 points per game, maybe even 5 or up to a touchdown. And that would be amazing when, like you said, you have a defense that's going to come back hungry and ready. Lost Kurt Coleman, but a lot of people stayed in house, so that's going to be good to go. Now, one other part of the team I want to talk about is areas of improvement. If you all met the areas that you felt needed to improve from last year, and do you trust the current coaching staff? So let's start with areas of improvement. If you could fix anything in 2017, what would it have been?
I think we need more deep, accurate balls from Cam.
Okay.
That's definitely an improvement that we need. We need more blocking from our O line.
Okay.
But those are the areas that I see that we need. The running game, but like I said, we got speed now with Moore and McCaffrey, so I'm not worried there. But definitely more blocking from the O line.
Okay. And I can see
And
that
we
that's
like for
important.
Cam's accuracy to be a little bit better.
Is it going to be a lot better, a little bit better? Which one is the golden ticket?
And now you trying to get me, Joe. We need Cam to be a little bit more accurate
Okay.
with his deep balls.
Fair enough. Now, while we're talking about Cam's accuracy, a former Panther who was traded middle last season, Kelvin Benjamin, former wide receiver, had his own little issues, injury, weight, different little things. He had some things to say about Cam that weren't favorable. Not saying that they weren't true, but they definitely felt like he didn't necessarily have to say anything, but he did mention things about Cam's accuracy as part of his issue. And more than likely, this question was posed to him in a way where he just felt it was too hard to pass up. And then the teams are going to meet. This Thursday night shows up. The teams are about to play. The guys out there warming up, and Cam Newton and Thomas Davis approach Kelvin Benjamin pregame. And there's a little bit of an exchange, and Cam extended his hand. Kelvin Benjamin wasn't having it. And then it just kind of escalated from there. Give me your thoughts on that situation, not only Benjamin's comments, but also Newton's response.
I think that Kelvin Benjamin handled it definitely inappropriately. I think that you can't blame one man for your responsibilities. He showed up to camp when he came back much heavier
Mm-hmm.
I watched replays of Cam throwing the ball right to him and him fumbling
Mm-hmm.
and missing the catches. Also, the Panthers had a better record when he was not playing.
Right.
So you can't blame him and for your, responsibility. I mean, like I said, he showed up heavier
Yeah.
and he was missing catches. I think that he handled it very inappropriately. I'm very proud of Cam for addressing him because they were friends.
I
So
see.
I just felt like he was very wrong in how he handled it. But I was proud of Cam and how he addressed him.
Okay.
Walking up to him and trying to shake his hand and basically trying to figure out, hey, what's going on?
Right.
So, I just think that Benjamin was dead wrong. And I'm proud of Cam for how he handled the situation.
I feel that too. Now let me ask you. So, do you feel that because you said they were friends beforehand, even if it was just friendly teammates, the NFL isn't all that big, and there's not a big fraternity of people. So you kind of want to get lasting friendships. Do you think that maybe in a year or so, or maybe after the season, maybe they'll end up somewhere and they'll talk it out? And do you think this is something that can be hashed out between the players?
I hope that they do. I would think that, as time go on, that maybe Benjamin will look at the situation and reach out to Cam. I don't see Cam reaching out to him because he's already done that,
Hmm.
which is which I give him mad respect for. But I
Right.
think, as time goes on and things settle down, I hope that Benjamin, definitely reached out to Cam. I think that he owes him a huge apology. You threw this at me, and this wasn't all my fault.
Right.
So
I definitely
I
can
hope that
appreciate
they
that
do because
perspective.
they were friends. So I
Right.
hope that they do work things out.
That would be ideal. I mean, there's not that many jobs in the NFL. There's not that many starting jobs in the NFL. You definitely don't want this kind of negativity on your resume. I thought that maybe Kelvin Benjamin shouldn't have made the statement, but when he did, if Cam approached him and it was on some real stuff, um, maybe he should have engaged that. If it was, hey, let's talk it out real quick and then let's get to work. I think it could have been handled a different way, but I'm a firm believer in just because a mic is stuck in your face as an athlete doesn't mean you have to talk, and you definitely don't want to give anybody bulletin board material. And I think Kelvin Benjamin did that. If Cam should have approached him before the game or maybe just tried to reach out to him a different way, I think that's a little bit debatable because it's kind of out in public. But you spoke on me in public, I addressed you in public, so that's another perspective for
Absolutely.
Cam to see. So I could see the ins and
Absolutely.
outs of that. So I understand your perspective and I appreciate your input here. So before we wrap this thing up, first, I want to let everybody know. I want to say this after she gave her opinion on Cam. Everybody knows that Jamie is a huge Cam Newton fan and a Panther fan. So I know you're going to rock with your boy, but I really appreciate the perspective that you gave on that issue. So before you go, I'm going to put you on the spot. And if you're up for it, can you predict your team's record and possibly predict the order of finish for the NFC South? Can I get either or both from you?
I'm not so confident that I can predict how we'll finish, but
Hmm.
I do feel like that we're not going to let the Saints sweep us this year. It's not going down like that.
So you had to
That's
shoot
not
me with
going.
a slug before the end of the segment. I see how
Yes,
you
we
do it.
coming for our revenge for that.
Okay.
That's a hard pill to swallow to say we
Three
swept y'all.
Pete.
So yeah, so we're not doing that this year. It's not going down. I
It's a
definitely
new
feel like
year.
we're coming for our vengeance for that.
We ain't
Um,
little no more, huh? Day we ain't little no more.
yeah, we can't go through that no more. So I do feel like we're gonna come strong. We're gonna come strong. I think that we definitely our team has worked on the areas that definitely needed working. Like I said,
Hmm.
with North Turner and
Right.
um, offensive DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, and then I'm
Yeah.
looking for what this Dante Jackson is gonna do
Hmm.
with helping the defense. So I'm really excited to see what goes on.
It sounds like you're ready to rock and roll too. I can imagine. Well, I hope for the best for everybody.
Dante Jackson, my bad, Dante
Dante
Jackson.
Jackson, good stuff. We'll be looking for him. I do wish you guys an injury-free season. We will meet again, and we'll get to talk about it, especially Hate Week. I got slugs for y'all. I personally agree with you. I do not believe that the Saints will sweep Carolina this year. I think we got a broom for Atlanta, though. I think we got room for Atlanta, though, because we owe them. They stole one at the crib last year, so we owe them one. But I think Carolina's going to be more prepared. I don't see us sweeping you guys this year. I think we'll split home and home. We'll hold down the Superdome. You guys will hold down Carolina, and I think we'll be competing for the top spot in the division again. I just only see one team that's not going to do that great in the division, but I'll talk to them about that on their segment. But in the meantime, people, this has been T-Word with Jamie of Invasion Nation Podcast. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up next, we got more NFC South action. Y'all keep it locked. We'll be right back. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Invasion Nation Podcast, NFC South edition. Y'all know how we do it. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing Mr. John Gotti give his thing, Jamie Fairley doing her thing as well. So we got the Bucks out the way. We got the Panthers out the way. And now we're going to focus on them Dirty Birds. We're about to get into a little bit of Atlanta Falcons news. And we have Miss Falcon. Y'all know who it is. Sean Scott on the line. What's good?
Hey, what's up?
What is happening? Hopefully you're doing well. This is a wellness check. How are you after that preseason opener?
I'm just fine. It was just a preseason. Don't jump off any bridges, people.
Okay, it was just a preseason. That's what you're going with?
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going with, because that's what it is.
Okay, I can dig it. Well, I'm not gonna get on your back about it too much. It is only the preseason, and in a couple of weeks, that game won't even matter because nothing major seemed to have happened that night anyway. Besides the Jets putting up 17 points. So let's jump right into your team and what to expect from them. But first, I want to look back like I did with everybody else. 2017 carrying into 2018. What do you want to bring back from the past into the future with this team for 2018?
For me, in 2018, what I want to see the Falcons carry over is defense. Last year, we improved to 9th overall. I think we were ranked 23rd or 24th in 2016.
Somewhere in that range. Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, so to improve to a top 10 defense, and we were top 10 against the run. We were 12th against the pass. To see that carry over into the 2018 season, to me, that is that's a necessity. We've lost a lot of people, so that might be a challenge this year. But also, I would like to see them, Matt Brain, continue his Ageless Wonder tour
right
in the NFL. He made 34 or 39 field goals last year, including 8 of 9 from 50 or more yards. So I would definitely like to see that continue from him. He's been clutch pretty much since we got him.
Right.
I need him to play until he's 60.
Well, I mean, the game of football is rough. Maybe he could stick around that long. And, I mean, with the way that y'all offense been a little bit hit or miss at times under Sark, I can see where you're going to rely on the field goal kicker. Maybe more you want to, but it's nice to have a guy in your back pocket that can get it done. Now, that said, let's move on into maybe some players to watch on the roster, maybe a rookie or a second or third year player that may be ready for a breakout, or somebody that fans outside of Falcon Nation should keep their eye on. Who you have in mind?
Well, I know everybody's going to immediately be looking at Calvin Ridley, especially with the headlines of the off season.
Right.
I don't know about Ridley yet. I don't know exactly what I expect his role in the offense to be. I don't know how effective he will be in terms of drawing a defense away from a Julio Jones. But the guy I feel like everybody should be paying attention to this upcoming season, to me, is Takk McKinley, especially after the first year he had, his rookie season last year. Mm-hmm. That's the guy with Dontari Poe and Adrian Claiborne gone, with them moving Vic Beasley mostly onto the line this season. I think this gives Takk that opening. He's going to be lined up besides his buddy Grady Jarrett. So I'm looking to see him improve on his 2017 season. He was tremendous for us last year, so I look for that to continue.
Okay, and you did mention Vic Beasley, so I want to stop and speak on him for a moment. Vic Beasley's one of the standout players from the draft when he came into the league, and toying with him at linebacker and standing him up, I think he's better just – his get off is a lot better when he gets to put his hand in the dirt and size up an offensive tackle. Do you feel like this is going to be a turn the corner year? It's hard to say a guy's going to turn the corner when he had as many sacks as he did a couple seasons ago, but do you feel like he'll revert back to that particular Vic Beasley? Or
I think so. I don't think being dropped in coverage was a strong suit for him at all. It seems unnatural for him.
He's too tall.
Going back to the line makes the most sense. I don't know why they dropped him in the coverage in the first place. But
yeah, it's called outsmarting yourself. You get too greedy and you're trying to do too much. You got to put a player where he belongs. I think Vic Beasley is a hand in the dirt, pin his ears back, and go get the quarterback. So, in my opinion, I think he's in his most natural position. You put him opposite Tack McKinley, and that's going to be problems. I know we got 2 offensive tackles in New Orleans that's ready to see them boys, though. Just a heads up. Just letting you know, there's going to be 2 players that's going to be ready. Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk are going to stonewall both them boys. So if they get a sack in either of them games, I'm going to be really surprised. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I told you we sweeping y'all this year.
Pretty early on.
We sweeping y'all this year. Yeah, we going to see y'all pretty early, and it's going to be fun, too. We sweeping y'all this year. I'm just putting it out there. So, but let's focus on your team. This ain't about us. Yeah, we sweeping y'all. Yeah. Is
our name Carolina? No.
Straight slug. Y'all hear that out there, Panthers fans? She said no. That's what's up. So let me get into this next part of it. Looking at your team and thinking about the performance last year, moving into this year, do you believe through free agency, the draft, maybe cutting some players, whatever, roster movement, I guess you could say, do you think your team has improved where needed? And are you happy with the coaching staff as is?
Well, to address the first part, they didn't go after anybody in free agency. That really surprised me. I don't know if it was probably the cap structure or the expected cap hits or whatever. But the issue of addressing the needs that we had as far as the draft goes, I got to say, I'm one of those people who feel like you shop needs first in a draft, or at least make trades so that you can get that need filled. And we had a specific need for that defensive line. I don't think we really went out there and attacked that need the way we were supposed to. As I said before, we lost both Poe and Claiborne to free agency. We also lost Taylor Gabriel to free agency. I guess bringing in Calvin Ridley will address that. As far as really goes, he was the best available player at that particular time that the Falcons picked. I think 26 overall.
Somewhere.
So I guess they were just going for best available pick. But yeah, that was kind of disappointing to not see them address the defensive line the way that they were supposed to. And we could have used another lineman, offensive lineman in the draft as well. But, you know, you can't really complain when you're getting a guy like Calvin Ridley. He's been compared to I've most often seen comparisons to Antonio Brown. You were saying he's more like Julio Jones.
Yeah.
But
just not as big. Not quite as big.
Yeah, he's like 6'1". That was pretty surprising. But you know, I feel like anything, if you're gonna have to grab a guy who is the next available person, I think we can live with that. Something to make a rich offense a little bit richer. So I can go for it. As far as the coaching staff is concerned, I feel like we're pretty solid in the coaching staff everywhere except for Steve Sarkisian. This is his year. Like, everybody's a little worried about what my guy is going to do. I'm trying to have faith in him. He's got Greg Knapp alongside him. Falcons fans will remember his time with the team from when Mike Vick was with us. So
In-house
I'm
replacement.
hoping that
That's an
something
in-house
that.
replacement.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that it sounds like there's a built-in replacement if Sark slip up early. That's what it sounds like to me. The replacement is already on the roster, already on the staff.
I'm not mad at that analysis because that's kind of how I felt too. But I mean, it's his job to lose. He has to go out there and make better calls for certain than he did last year. Everybody, all Falcons fans, were pretty disgusted with the jet sweep thing. That was what you heard most of the complaining about last year. Just errant calls for bad field position. Like it didn't make sense for where we were on the field at the time. So I'm just hoping. I'm hoping Greg Knapp rubs off on him and that the offense will be a little bit less Super Bowl hungover than it was last year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Sarkisian is his game flow ability is a little bit offbeat to me, and that's why he's not as intuitive as Kyle Shanahan was about, I'm going to use play number 3 to set up play number 12, a drive down the line or 2 drives later. I think that he lives in the moment, and that kind of hurts him a little bit. So just like I did with Gotti, you hit my 3 questions and you knocked them out of the park, so I appreciate that. I've got some rapid-fire quick hitters that I want you to give me your quickest, I guess, one-liner response to this. So you actually addressed this. I'm going to give you one more time to speak your piece on it. So my question is, the Falcons maybe have lightweight concerns about the offense, and you more or less told us that. So what do you think is the fix? Is it going to be Greg Knapp rubbing off, or do you think Sark is going to get it this year?
I think most of what we saw last year was just a team that was dealing with an abysmal loss in the Super Bowl. I think the only heal for that was just moving on to the next season. I feel like with Julio and Matt, that rapport it grew. I definitely think so. We'll see more of that in the preseason. We'll get the chance to see what he can do with Ridley. And Sanu is just old faithful to me. So I don't know. I really feel like once they address the issue of how the receivers were dropping the ball last year, because that was the biggest problem. Once they get that issue, that they get that monkey off their back, they should be the reminiscent of that offense we saw in 2016.
Sounds good. We're going to see how that plays out. Now, I've got more I want to ask about here, another rapid fire. So there was a young player who I watched the Falcons game in its entirety on Thursday night because, again, I scout the whole division. So I want to see what was what. And I saw DeMonte, I guess it's Casey or Casey. He had 11 tackles. Yeah. Casey, okay. He had 11 tackles. And during the game, I think I reached out to you and mentioned that he was all over the place, and I thought that his coverage ability was a little sketchy, but he was definitely physical. Well, little did I know he's actually a safety, and it looks like they manned him up a lot. This kid had 11 tackles, 9 were solo, so that means he was in on 13 takedowns. Could he possibly supplant Keanu Reeves or Cortez Allen? Because right now, according to our lads on the depth chart, they've got Casey, they've got him as the number 3 safety behind Allen. So they're looking at him as more of a free safety. Is that right?
I think so. And with that kid, I feel like there is an opportunity for him to eventually replace somebody. But, I mean, they just gave Allen they just re-signed him for another couple of years. So I think that guy, he was probably maybe a surprise for them. So we'll see how he continues to play throughout the preseason. I think he could potentially land himself a starting spot if he continues to play how he played the other night.
I think if somebody's, because he's so physical and his coverage ability was so, and he looks like a more sure tackler than I don't know why I say Keanu Reeves, Keanu Neal. Yeah, I think he'd be a good strong safety. Come up and be physical, play the run, maybe guard the tight end or running back out the backfield every now and then. I feel like Keanu Neal should be watching his back. I referred to him as Keanu Reeves earlier, and that's an actor, obviously. But Keanu Neal is who I was thinking of. 22. I know that he's a big hitter who has limited range and coverage ability, and I think that makes him a liability. Whereas Kazzy is kind of the same thing, but he's going to be on a cheaper deal, and I think he's going to come for that spot. Or you could potentially see the Falcons run 3 safety sets. Now, the last rapid-fire question is going to be penalties. Dan Quinn definitely mentioned that he was unhappy with the amount of penalties the team had the other day. Do you feel like that'll be cleaned up by the end of the preseason?
Yeah, I definitely thought that was like a first game thing. Maybe just guys getting a little too antsy, too frustrated or whatever. I don't feel like that's something that will carry over into the season. But they did have a problem with penalties last season. So
definitely,
I'm expecting Quinn to clean that up by opening day.
Yeah, he seems like a disciplinarian coach. I imagine that if he addressed it in the media, he's definitely going to be on their backs and practice to get that cleaned up. So I'm looking forward to see what the team will look like on the next preseason game and see how that plays out for you guys. Of course, I'm hoping you lose, as I do with all division rivals. But, hey, injury-free is my biggest hope. So before I let you go, do you have any words out there for the listeners about the Atlanta Falcons at this point right now? I know we'll have you back, but do you have any final words on this particular segment?
I think all I need to say is that last year, even when we weren't operating at our best, we had the same pretty much offensive unit in place. A lot of people have to understand that that's growing pains. We got a first-year OC. We were coming off of that loss, like I said, and all of that stuff is just we have to find a way to gel better this season. And I feel like right off the top, I think that's not going to be an issue the way it was last year. You can expect for us to be the NFC South champion this year.
Ooh, bold statement right there. Well, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see if it pays off for you guys. Well, thank you so much, Sean, for joining me on the Invasion Nation podcast, episode 1. So y'all keep it locked right here. We're going to a commercial. We'll be right back to wrap up the show with the Saints preview. Maybe we're about to turn the tables and also do a division roundup. So keep it locked.
Game on the line, you can bet we take them. Go black and gold, black and gold. Don't stop, boy, we trying to win the Super Bowl. We rock and roll. Touchdown, go Saints, we gonna do it some more.
Welcome back to the Invasion Nation podcast. You're here with Sean Scott. And today we're turning the tables on T-Word, who's been interviewing all of us about our team. So today he's going to preview us the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Steve.
What's up? It's time to get to it, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
I said it's time to get to it, right?
Yeah, we got to get your wretched Saints out the way.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, the champs are here. We ready. What you got for me today?
The champs?
The champs are here. Division champs. We save the best for last.
I guess. Well, let's get into these questions. Okay.
All right.
So what do you want your team to carry over from the 2017 season into 2018 season?
So for 3 years straight, the Saints went 7-9, 14, 15, 16. And then in 2017, they turned it around and won 11 games plus a playoff game. So they got to the second round. I would like them to bring the winning attitude and fun from 2017 into 2018. I think they finally purged all the cancers on the roster, and they brought in a young roster of, number one, ball players. I'm talking about boy dogs. And then they also brought in the attitude and the swagger that was missing since before the bounty farce happened. The swagger had been gone, and they brought that back in 2017. I love the post-play excitement. I love them rallying around each other. I love the defensive backs, the photo ops with the Boot Gang attitude. I like that the offense got into it, the dancing in the locker room. Everything that made that team different than the 2016 version, I loved it. I like the fact that the Saints have been bringing in these Ohio State players that just brought that swagger, and I'm loving it. So, to me, I would love to see that come back in 2018.
Okay. So nothing from the 2017 season that you guys need to leave in 2017?
What do I want to leave in 2017? The reliance on Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
In a lot of situations. I would like us to be more diverse on offense. They've added a couple of new weapons. Cameron Meredith has been brought in. You also add in the rookie Traquan Smith, another wide receiver. Ted Ginn is back. We got Ben Watson back. We've got a solidified offensive line. We should bring back the entire starting lineup that finished the season last year. Healthy Teron Armstead. You've got Max Unger. Andrews Pete should be back from his broken leg that he suffered in the playoffs. And then also Ryan Ramczyk. I hate losing Senio Calamite, but I would just like to see them be more diverse on offense in terms of getting some of their other running backs. Because when you think about it, in 2017, you pretty much had two running backs dominate the touches. It was Mark Ingram and it was Alvin Kamara. I would like to see one of these other running backs outside the time that Mark Ingram is suspended. I would like to see one of the other running backs get some shine and not be so reliant on Kamara to be the game breaker that he is. So that's what I would like to leave in 2017. Too much Kamara, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm going to veer off script a little bit here
and
ask you to elaborate on the Mark Ingram situation and what impact you think that'll have on the Saints in this upcoming season.
Oh, good question. I like it. For Ingram, I think what we're going to find out is how Sean Payton really feels about Mark Ingram. And what I mean by that is, will he immediately put him back into rotation as that number one back with Kamara being his counterpart, or will Ingram find himself in a timeshare for the power back position with a guy like Terrence West? We have a young player by the last name Edmonds. There's a Williams kid who did well in the preseason, scored a TD, who's also more of a power back, built like Ingram, run like Ingram. So I'm wondering if he'll keep one of those guys to give Ingram a little bit more fire and put a little pressure on him when he comes back, or will he just default and say, hey, we've been waiting on you, big fella, let's get back to it, and then they go back to 2017 football where it's the Ingram and Kamara show. So to me, I think the impact is going to be felt more or less after Ingram comes back. While he's gone, Sean Payton has had a few months to decide what I'm going to do about missing Mark Ingram, and I think it's going to be replacement by committee with West, with Williams, with Edmonds. 2 or 3 of those guys are going to carry those touches, and then Kamara's going to see a couple more extra touches from the handoff style of things versus just catching passes out of the backfield. So that's how I feel like that's going to play out.
Do you expect any of those guys to be effective in taking over that part-time role for Mark Ingram?
I do, simply because I believe in the offensive line. Like I mentioned earlier, we're bringing back quite a solid unit. They graded out pretty high in run and pass blocking. So I feel like that unit coming back is going to make it a lot easier for a new running back to adapt to the offense.
Okay. Well, you touched on this a little bit earlier. So the next question we have for you is there a rookie or a young player who could break out in 2018?
Traquan Smith. I'm expecting him to ball his ass off in 2018. He's been solid in practice. He's got the chops to be a nice NFL receiver. Even if he's a slot guy or number 2, I think he's going to push for that Ted Ginn spot. And if he can be more sure-handed and still burn it up and get downfield and hit for a couple big plays, he may even supplant Ted Ginn by the end of the season, which is what you want anyway, simply because Ted Ginn is getting a little older and maybe they could shift him to more of a returner role, and that way you could get a more reliable guy, or more reliable speed guy at the number 2, and then you put Cameron Meredith in the slot. Now, another guy I expect to turn a corner, I guess you really can't say turn a corner per se, but definitely step his game up even more is going to be Marcus Williams. He's the butt of a lot of jokes, but that kid has been working his tail off in the offseason. He's bigger, stronger, he's faster, he's been all over the place in practice. He's not shy, and he came in as a highly rated ball hawk coming out of Utah, and I think you'll see him really play that way. He's also coming down in the box making hits. He earned his reputation basically throughout the entire offseason as the guy who missed the tackle. Expect him not to have that happen anymore. I think that's what will push him to be an all-pro.
Yeah, that's all we need to see him do is actually be in the play next time.
He was in the play. He just made a bad decision. He thought too much. Instead of reacting, he was thinking, if I just miss him or I don't want pass interference, he just overthought it and bad things happen. This year, he's just going to play off instinct, and that's going to serve him well.
All right, and so our final question for you is: has your team improved where it was needed, and do you trust your coach?
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the coaches because that's my short answer. Yes, I trust the coaches. I love the staff that's together. Sean Payton has been there, over a decade, and he's been solid keeping the offense going. I love the fact that over the last couple years, he's stepped way back with what he's doing with the defense and allowed the DC to do his job. And Dennis Allen has done admirably in turning the defense around. He's also brought in people. They say the smartest people know what they don't know, and they bring in people that do know those things. So he brought in assistants who can do it along the defensive line, the linebackers, the defensive back, so he could focus on scheme and putting his players in the best position, and he could let the position coaches actually get those players ready technique-wise. So I love what I see. So I trust the coaching staff 100%. Now, you said, did my team improve where they needed to? Was that the question?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think
so.
For your
needs addressed.
Yes, linebacker and wide receiver depth was an issue. If any particular linebacker went out, we suffer really bad injuries, and it really hurt. This year, I think they're so deep. There's an embarrassment of riches at linebacker this year. So I feel like getting Demario Davis was a huge win in free agency. They've got Manti Te'o, who was a huge win last year. And hopefully the guys are coming back healthy that were hurt, like Alex Anzalone. So I'm expecting good things. And Craig Robertson balled his ass off too. So got to look for him. But it's to the point where now a guy who was starting for the Saints the last 2 years is probably going to be a backup and could potentially be cut, talking about Craig Robertson. So, yeah, we did improve in the areas where I thought were necessary.
All right, awesome. Okay. So our bonus sort of question here is, we know you're a sports guy. This is what you do. So
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and predict how the 4 teams in the NFC South will finish? Ooh. And we are already expecting you to put your wretched team as the champions.
Watch your mouth. We ain't wretched. We champions. Let me see. I'm going to take a stab at it. I'm going to be bold. And I'm going to say it right here before I get into that. On the NFC South Invasion Nation podcast, I do want to say I'm predicting the Cleveland Browns to win 8 to 10 games. I'm going with 8. I just want to say it, put it on record so everybody can say what they want to say, but that's one prediction, my bold prediction of the week.
Definitely holding your feet to the fire over that one.
That's cool.
This is a team that didn't win at all one game last season.
And they were very close. So I'm sticking by it. I'm putting it on tape so everybody can say what they want. But when it comes true, I just want my pats on the back. I want my credit. You heard it here first. Now, for the NFC South 2018 final standings, as things stand right now, barring any catastrophic injury to anybody, because the season can change on the dime, I'm going to go New Orleans Saints first. I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons second. I've got the Buccaneers in third. And the Panthers will be fourth, because I just don't feel like it's going to come together for them. I feel like that team's on the verge of just crapping the bed. So that's my prediction. Saints, Falcons, Bucks, and Kitties. That's how I predict it.
So we're not getting a record for those teams?
Nah, that's too hard. I mean, I'll say this. I think the floor for our division is 7 wins. I feel like the Panthers will go 7-9. I think the ceiling for our division is 13 wins. I think the Saints could potentially win 13 if by some miracle the Falcons get it together and Sark becomes Sean Payton with his offensive play calling. I think Atlanta has the potential to win 13 with the way their defense has improved. And I think the Bucks can win anywhere between, I'd say, 8 to 10 games. So I think that as a division, this division is going to win a lot of games. It just ain't enough wins to go around for everybody to be in double digits.
That's true. So are you predicting us to be able to send 3 teams to the playoffs like we did last year?
I doubt it. Simply because it's a possibility that the Bucks and Panthers may both end up with about 7 or 8 wins each, no more than 9. And I just don't think 9 wins gets a team into the playoffs in 2018 in the NFC. I just don't think 9 will get you in. Just like last year, you had 3 9-win teams on the outside looking in because there were 3 10-plus win teams in the South. So I think it's going to be the same way. You might see the NFC East might have 2 or 3 double-digit win teams, maybe even the West. Not really sure about the West. I think the West is going to have the 49ers lead the pack. Seattle's going to fall off. So, no, I don't think we're going to put 3 teams in the playoffs this year.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Now, so you got me out the way. So let's go ahead and wrap the show up since you already got me on here. Let's talk about the division. Let's do a roundup real quick. I thought it would be cool if you and I took a few minutes to talk about the coaching situation throughout the division. Let's see. Let's go in alphabetical order. Let's start with Atlanta. And what is the future? I'm going to throw the question at you. What is the future of Sarkisian if, let's say, the offense is averaging maybe, let's say, 12 to 18 points a game early on? What do you think happens in that situation?
I don't think he has any room for failure. I like with them bringing in Greg Knapp, the writing is on the wall. They weren't impressed with him last season, and I feel like any kind of sputtering when you have a guy who is getting a check for $150 million is unacceptable. We're in win now mode, as you always would say. But I don't feel like there is a window for Steve Sarkisian to fall off like he did last year.
Oh, absolutely. I
well,
agree
he didn't fall off really. He's a first year OC.
He couldn't step up.
So you had to deal with the growing pains from that. But I don't think there's any room. There's no cushion for his fall. Greg Knapp is waiting in the wings. So if he can't get it together, I give him 46 games in. If that team is not scoring or drives are being decided by bad coaching decisions, look for him to be up out of there.
I see. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I personally don't think Sark makes it past week 4 just because I feel like he's just not that guy. And as high octane as the Falcons offense can be, we've seen it once now. I just don't think he's the guy to do it. Now moving on, let's see who's next. Carolina Panthers. Norv Turner steps in as offensive coordinator. He's a pretty brilliant football mind. Do you think it's going to help Cam Newton in any way? Because I really think he needs a quarterback guru. Do you think it's really going to help their offense when you've got guys like Christian McCaffrey, Curtis Samuel, and then what's his name, DJ Moore. DJ Moore. Do you think their offense is going to be better because Norv Turner is there?
I don't know. Cause with Norv Turner, don't you remember the days when he had LaDainian Tomlinson and that whole crew out there in San Diego? And they were always high-powered or whatever, but they never did anything with it. They barely got to the play. I don't even know if they got to the playoffs more than once with LT. Did they?
I think LT made it to the playoffs like maybe 2 or 3 times in San Diego, and I know he went with the Jets. But now I think you're right, but you've got to contribute a big part of success and failure in San Diego to the defense. That's always been an Achilles heel. So in my opinion, I think the offense will be solid for Carolina. I just think that there's going to be a hole in the defense. They're one injury away from being a sieve of a defense. So I just – like on the back end, they're dependent on a lot of young corners. I just don't think they have the back end covered, and then they lost Kurt Coleman. So in my opinion, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Please continue.
I was just going to say, and then you still have Cam Newton being inconsistent.
Right. That's the thing to me. I don't think Norv Turner is going to help or hurt the offense. I think it's going to be about Cam Newton, and I really believe they need a quarterbacks coach to come in and refine his game right down to mechanics, which is going to help him become a better passer. All right, so now we are on New Orleans. So talking about Sean Payton and the fact that he's basically relinquished control of his defense to his coordinator, do you believe that Sean Payton is going to do you think that his philosophy on offense is really just a matter of him figuring out that Drew Brees is getting up there in age? Or do you think that he realized that in order to be successful in division, he needed a run game? What do you contribute the change of philosophy to?
I think it's the latter. That he realizes that he needs a run game to keep himself relatively competitive in this division. Because, I mean, you got 4 pretty solid quarterbacks, regardless of what everybody says about them. They're going to put up their numbers. That's a given. You need the change of pace that a running game provides, controlling the clock. You need somebody who is going to come in and slow the clock down at times to slow the game down.
Right. Chew the clock up, right?
Yeah. So I think he realizes he needs that run game.
I agree with that 100%. I really believe that He's also looking at life post Breeze. He signed a 5-year deal a couple years ago, which should extend him just beyond Breeze's 2 years that he just signed. I think he sees the writing on the wall. Breeze's arm strength has diminished, and regardless of what people say, yeah, he could throw it deep every now and then, but the way that Breeze has to get his body into a throw, he has to really step into it, plant his feet. He can't throw a dart on the run anymore. Put it that way. He's realizing that, so you see less shot plays and you see more plays that set up plays down the line. Like I said earlier, you're looking at a quarterback or offensive coordinator who's going to call a play. Play number 3 is going to set up play 11, and I think that's what's been going on with him changing his offensive philosophy. Now, the last –
Wait, just a second before you go into something else. Like you told me, who's the guy backing up Drew Brees this year?
We have Taysom Hill and J.T. Barrett.
My question is that a guy who could carry that offense if something were to happen to Drew Brees?
The current version of the offense, yes. If we had Taysom Hill 3 years ago and Drew Brees went down and he had to come in, no, because the offense was heavily reliant on Brees with precision passing. The last couple of years, or just this last year for sure, Brees threw a lot less. He had some of his least attempts and completions in about 4 years. He also had less yardage. He didn't even really come that close to 5,000 because they relied on the run game. So you could kind of plug and play a guy, and that's kind of the tail end of that question that we were just discussing is he changed his philosophy to get ready for life after Brees just as much as he changed philosophy to be able to win within the division and ball control.
Right, because we were all kind of expecting him to take somebody in the draft. Like, I know you were discussing Lamar Jackson.
Right. Somebody
I thought would probably be very successful in the type of offense that Sean Payton runs, but
well, now
surprising.
My eyes have shifted focus. I'm looking at some other guys. I'm looking at a guy who's probably going to get cut, and hopefully the Saints bring him in to take a look at him. Teddy Bridgewater, I like what I saw from him the other night, and I would love to see him run Sean Payton's offense. So when the Jets cut him, I hope that Sean Payton will give that young man a call, and I think that will be a heck of a backup quarterback, and he'll have at least a year or two to learn the system, get behind Breeze, learn how to be a true professional, which he is from what I can see anyway, a little bit more time to heal from his injury, and I think Bridgewater will be the quarterback for the next 10 years after Breeze is gone. So that's kind of what I'm predicting as far as that goes. So whoever's behind Breeze right now, I really don't care because I don't feel like that's going to be the guy. And with Teddy Bridgewater probably needing a job in a couple of weeks, I would love to see him lined up in black and gold.
All right. So you are banking on the fact that who has him now, the Jets?
Yeah, he's with the Jets, and he's the odd man out unless they carry 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're banking on the fact that they're going to cut Teddy Bridgewater.
Absolutely. He's not going to stay there. You got Sam Darnold, Josh McCown, and you got Bridgewater, and McCown basically, I believe, set the other night. So he's the penciled-in starter to give Darnold some time to get ready, and Bridgewater's still a question mark. So he's the odd man out, in my opinion, unless they carry 3.
Okay.
No doubt. So the last one, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know you got a lot to say about this one. Dirk Cutter and Mike Smith still have jobs somehow. Oh, boy. What do you think about that situation down there? What is the life expectancy for these two as coaches in Tampa Bay?
The Bucs fans that I've talked to, they really hang this problem that they're having in Tampa squarely on the shoulders of Mike Smith. For a guy to come out and say publicly that he doesn't believe in sacks or whatever it was, so that soundbite was, it was really shocking for a defensive-minded guy, a guy who is a current defensive coordinator, to say something like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I remember these two well from their time in Atlanta, and I think that's a package deal. I think we should I would cut ties with both.
I agree. I think that the life expectancy, much like I was thinking with Sark, it's just a couple games in, and if the success isn't there, they're not going to last long. They'll be, I believe personally, that this will be the first coaches fired in 2018.
Yeah, I could believably say that as well. I definitely agree with that. And, you know, this guy, they have a wealth of talent down there in Tampa. Like, that's not a team that should finish 6-10. Or I can't even see less than 8 wins for Tampa with the squad that they have. But,
Right.
you know, these people believe in Dirk Cutter. So if Dirk Cutter can manage 8 wins and he cuts part ties with Mike Smith, he'll probably keep his job.
Yeah, and it may be a situation where if you want to stay working, you got to cut your boys short. Just like with Sean Payton a couple years ago, he let go of some very long tenured assistants because it was kind of like either we fire all of y'all or you fire them and we'll get you some new people. So he went on ahead and moved on to the next regime and got some more people in there and let his buddies go. I think that's the only way Cutter stays. If he's willing to fire, he gotta pick a scapegoat, and it will be Mike Smith.
I think he is a little bit more than just a scapegoat. I think
he's a flaw.
The source of a lot of woes down there in Tampa.
Yeah, he definitely a weak link. I agree with you there, and I really can't come up with anything other than that. He is a weak link, but I also think he'll be the one who'll bear the brunt of that force when they say, all right, man, you gotta let somebody go, or we letting all of y'all go. So we'll see how it plays out, but I think 3 or 4 games in, they could potentially be moving on from both those guys. So I think we covered it all. You got anything else for the people, Sean? I'm good.
I'm good. I think we've covered everything facing the NFC South in the 2018 season. Wishing all y'all nothing but healthy players and unlimited losses.
Wow. Yeah, and I wish the same for you guys. FYT as always. And all the rest of y'all, same thing. Let me see. Bird Gang, FYT. Buccaneers, FYT, Kitty, same to y'all, everybody. Wow. So this has been the first edition of the NFC South Invasion Nation podcast, hosted by your boy T-Word, my partner in crime, Sean Scott. We thank y'all for listening. We appreciate your time, and can't wait to do another one and get y'all back on here. We're going to get these going throughout the preseason into regular season. So this is a regular thing now. So this is episode 1 of 20 at a minimum. Hopefully there'll be some NFC South participants in the playoffs, so we'll get some bonus coverage and we can really talk about some in-depth analysis and all that good stuff. But until next time, anything else, Sean?
Oh, FYT, the Aints. The New Orleans Aints. We have to get that in before we close.
And on
FYT, capital letters, cap lock.
And on that note, we're going to close it. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Bye.
Your paper right, trying to reach all these goals. It's about that time for me to go for mine. So my time is money and my money is time. Respect my place and respect my mind. It's about time we draw the line.